Reyna stood alone on the small deck of her spaceship, looking out into the endless sea of stars. Her fingers gripped the cold metal rail tightly. For years, she had traveled from one place to another, hoping to find a home, or at least a place where she belonged. But everywhere she went, she was rejected. She was human, and that seemed to be a problem. The other planets and colonies had their own ways and their own people. They thought humans were too wild, too stubborn, too hard to trust. Reyna had heard it all before. You don't fit here. You are not good enough. And you will never belong. But Reyna was strong. She had survived more than most beings in the galaxy. She had faced dangerous creatures, hostile worlds, and cold space storms. Still, no one wanted her. No one needed her. One day, while scanning a distant planet, she heard about Princess Aveline. The princess was the heir to the greatest star empire in the galaxy. This empire was powerful and mysterious. The princess was known for her wisdom, courage, and a strange loneliness that few knew about. More interestingly, Princess Aveline was looking for a husband. Not just any husband, but a partner who could stand by her side in hard times. Many had tried to win the princess's heart, but none had succeeded. Reyna thought, why not try? She had nothing left to lose. If the whole galaxy had rejected her, maybe the princess would not. With a plan in her mind, Reyna set her course for the Empire's capital planet. It was a place full of shining towers, flying cars, and beings from many worlds. But Reyna did not care about the grandeur. She wanted to see the princess. When Reyna arrived, she was surprised by the palace's size and beauty. It was like nothing she had ever seen. She knew she would face many challenges here, but her heart burned with hope. At the grand ball held to meet the princess, Reyna moved through the crowd quietly. Everyone stared at her, a human among aliens dressed in elegant robes. She felt their eyes filled with doubt and curiosity. Then, in a moment that shocked everyone, Reyna stepped forward and spoke loudly. "Princess Aveline, will you be my husband?" The room went silent. The music stopped. People gasped. This was not how things were done in the Empire. No one had ever asked the princess such a question so boldly, so openly. Princess Aveline looked at Reyna with calm eyes. She said nothing, but inside, she was surprised and interested. Who was this human who dared to break all the rules? Reyna waited, her heart pounding. She had taken the biggest risk of her life. Now, she hoped it would be enough. The future was unknown, but Reyna was ready to face it. She was tired of being rejected. This time, she was going to fight for her place among the stars. The grand hall was full of important guests. Bright lights shone from crystal chandeliers, and music played softly in the background. Everyone wore their best clothes, and everyone's eyes were on Reyna now. They could not believe what they had just heard. "Will you be my husband?" Reyna's bold words hung in the air like a challenge. Some guests whispered to each other. Some smiled with surprise, and others frowned, thinking it was rude or impossible. Princess Aveline sat on her throne at the far end of the hall. Her silver hair shone under the lights, and her calm eyes looked directly at Reyna. The princess did not smile or show anger. Instead, she was quiet and thoughtful. The palace guards moved a little closer, ready to act if needed, but the princess raised her hand to stop them. She wanted to see what Reyna would do next. Reyna stood tall, her heart beating fast but steady. She had come a long way and taken a big risk. Now was the moment she had dreamed about for years. "Your Highness," Reyna said clearly, "I am not like others you have met. I have no noble blood or fancy titles. I am just human. But I have something that matters: strength, courage, and a will to fight for what is right." The room was silent again. The guests were curious. Who was this human with so much confidence? The princess finally spoke. "Reyna, your courage is rare," she said slowly. "But marriage here is not simple. It is a duty to the Empire. And the one who becomes my partner must prove they can handle the weight of that responsibility." Reyna nodded. "I understand, Your Highness. I am ready to prove myself." I ask for a chance to show you what I can do." Eveline looked thoughtful. "Very well. If you want to become my consort, you must complete a series of trials. These will test your mind, your strength, and your heart. Many have tried and failed." The crowd gasped. Trials. This was no easy path. It was dangerous and challenging. Reyna smiled. "I am not afraid. I will face whatever comes." The princess stood and stepped down from her throne. She walked slowly toward Reyna and stopped just a few feet away. "You will start tomorrow," Eveline said quietly. "Prepare yourself. The Empire will watch your every move." Reyna felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was the chance she had waited for. No more running, no more hiding. She would fight for her place. As the guests began to whisper and move around, Reyna looked at the princess one more time. There was something in Eveline's eyes, a spark of respect, or maybe hope. The night ended with many questions, but Reyna's answer was clear. She would not give up. Tomorrow, her real journey would begin. The sun rose over the shining towers of the Empire's capital planet. Reyna woke up early, her mind busy with thoughts about the trials ahead. She dressed quickly and left her small room in the palace, feeling both nervous and excited. Today was the first test. The palace was full of watchers, important people who would decide if Reyna was worthy of Princess Eveline's trust. Reyna knew that every step she took was being watched carefully. In the grand hall, the princess waited for Reyna. Eveline's face was calm but serious. "Your first trial will test your mind," she said. "You must solve a problem that has confused our best scholars for years." Reyna's heart raced. A test of the mind was different from the physical fights she was used to. But she was determined. She followed the princess through long, bright corridors to a room filled with strange machines and glowing screens. Eveline explained, "This device controls the Empire's energy grid. It has been failing lately, causing power cuts. Your task is to find the problem and fix it." Reyna studied the machine carefully. It looked complicated, with wires and lights blinking in confusing patterns. She took a deep breath and started checking the circuits. Hours passed. Sweat dripped from Reyna's forehead. She felt tired, but she didn't give up. Slowly, she found a broken connection hidden under a panel. Carefully, she repaired it and restarted the machine. The lights on the screens turned green. The machine hummed smoothly. The power was restored. Princess Eveline smiled slightly. "Well done, Reyna. You have passed the first test." The watchers applauded. Reyna felt proud, but she knew this was only the beginning. Next came the second trial, a test of strength and courage. The princess led Reyna to a large arena. The walls were high, and the floor was covered with strange, glowing plants. "This trial will challenge your fighting skills," Eveline said. "You must face the guardian of the arena, a robot designed to be nearly unbeatable." Reyna's eyes narrowed. She was ready. The doors to the arena opened, and the robot stepped out. It was tall and strong, with glowing red eyes. It moved quickly, attacking Reyna with heavy punches and laser beams. Reyna dodged and jumped, using her speed and agility. She knew she could not win by force alone. Watching carefully, she found a weak spot, a small panel on the robot's back. With a quick move, Reyna climbed onto the robot and pressed a button that shut it down. The crowd cheered loudly. Princess Eveline nodded with approval. "You have shown courage and skill." Finally, the last test of the day was about the heart. Reyna was taken to a quiet garden inside the palace. There, Eveline told her, "The final trial is about trust and kindness. You must help a group of refugees from a distant planet who need food, shelter, and protection." Reyna spent the evening organizing aid, listening to the refugees' stories, and giving hope to those who had lost everything. By the end of the day, Reyna was exhausted but happy. She had passed all 3 tests of the princess's game. As she looked up at the stars that night, Reyna knew one thing for sure. She was no longer just a rejected human. She was a contender. and the real journey had only just begun. The next morning, Reyna woke up with a deep breath. The first day of trials had passed, but now the challenges would become harder. Princess Eveline had warned her. The path to becoming her consort was not easy. Reyna was ready. Today's trial was different. It was a test of endurance and teamwork. The princess took Reyna to the edge of the capital city where a strange spaceship waited. It was old and battered, but still strong. "You will lead a small team to explore a dangerous planet," Eveline explained. "You must find a rare crystal that the Empire needs for energy." Reyna felt a surge of excitement and fear. The planet was known to be wild and full of dangers. If she failed, it would be a serious loss for the Empire. And for her chances, she met her team, 3 skilled soldiers and a scientist. They were quiet but watchful. None of them trusted Reyna yet. Being human and an outsider, she had to earn their respect fast. The spaceship shook as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Reyna held her seat tightly. When they landed, the team stepped out into a forest unlike any Reyna had seen before. The trees were huge, glowing faintly in the dim light. Strange sounds echoed around them. "We must move carefully," Reyna said, trying to sound confident. The team moved slowly, watching for threats. Suddenly, a group of large, insect-like creatures attacked. Reyna shouted orders, and the soldiers fought bravely. Reyna joined the fight, using her quick reflexes to dodge and strike. After the battle, the group was tired but alive. Reyna's team started to respect her. She was not just brave, she was a leader. Deeper in the forest, they found the glowing crystals. Reyna picked one up carefully, but the planet was not done testing them. Suddenly, the ground shook. A huge, fiery creature appeared, guarding the crystals. It was like a living flame, and it roared fiercely. Reyna's heart pounded. She knew this was the real test, facing the planet's guardian. The team prepared to fight, but Reyna had an idea. "Wait," she shouted. "Maybe we don't need to fight." She stepped forward and spoke calmly to the creature, using a device that translated her words. "We mean no harm. We only want the crystals to save lives." The creature paused, its flames flickering. Slowly, it stepped back and allowed them to take a few crystals. The team was amazed. Reyna had won not just by strength, but by courage and wisdom. Back on the ship, the princess watched the whole mission through a screen. She smiled softly. Reyna was proving to be more than she expected. When Reyna returned to the palace, the team greeted her with respect. She had passed the trial of fire and earned their trust. As night fell, Reyna looked at the stars again. Every step was harder than the last, but she was closer to her goal. To be the princess's partner was no longer just a dream. It was becoming real. After the fiery trial on the wild planet, Reyna felt stronger. She was no longer just a visitor in the Empire. She was becoming part of its story. But not everyone was happy about this. Rumors started to spread quickly through the palace halls. Some nobles whispered that Reyna was dangerous, too wild and unpredictable to be trusted. Others said she only wanted power for herself and had no real loyalty to the Empire. Reyna heard these rumors. At first, they made her angry and sad, but she did not let them stop her. She knew she had to be even stronger and smarter. One evening, as Reyna walked through the palace gardens, she noticed 2 shadowy figures talking quietly. She couldn't hear all their words, but she caught something about a plan to ruin her. Who are they? Reyna wondered. She decided to watch carefully and find out. The next days were full of strange events. Some of Reyna's things were moved or hidden. Messages warning her appeared, telling her to give up the trials or leave the palace. Reyna stayed calm. She understood the game. Politics in the Empire were cruel, but she had faced worse dangers before. She would not back down. One day, a trusted guard warned her quietly. "They want to discredit you. They might try to set a trap." Reyna thanked him and prepared herself. She knew the best way to fight shadows was to bring them into the light. When the time came, Her enemies tried to trap her in a private meeting room. They accused her of spying for enemy planets and trying to steal secrets. Reyna stood tall. "You have no proof," she said firmly. "I am here to serve the Empire and the princess. Nothing else." The room filled with guards and nobles. Princess Aveline arrived, her face calm but serious. "Enough," she said. "We will investigate these claims. But until then, Reyna will continue the trials." The crowd murmured. The princess's support was clear. Reyna felt a spark of hope. Days later, the investigation found nothing against Reyna. Instead, it showed how some nobles tried to block her because they feared change. Reyna's name was cleared, but the experience taught her to be careful. Not everyone wanted her to succeed. The princess visited Reyna privately. "I admire your strength," Aveline said. "You face not just trials but enemies inside the palace. Are you ready for what comes next?" Reyna nodded. "I will fight for you, and for what is right, no matter the cost." Aveline smiled. "Good. The next trials will be harder. But so are you." Reyna felt ready. She had survived the shadows of doubt. Now, she would face the real challenges ahead. As she looked out from her window that night, the stars shone brighter than ever. Reyna knew she was closer to her destiny, no matter who tried to stop her. The days after the palace intrigue were tense. Reyna felt the weight of suspicion still hanging in the air, but also a new sense of respect. Even some nobles who once doubted her began to watch quietly, waiting to see what she would do next. Princess Aveline called Reyna to a private room filled with maps and glowing stars. "The next trial is not just about you," Aveline said. "It is about the Empire's future." Reyna listened carefully as the princess explained. A neighboring star system was on the edge of war. The Empire had tried many times to make peace, but all talks failed. The trial was to lead a diplomatic mission to bring the warring planets together. "It will be difficult," Aveline warned. "But I believe your human nature, your ability to understand and adapt, may be the key." Reyna felt a spark of hope. Humans were known for their unpredictability and emotions. Sometimes that was a weakness, but it could also be a strength. On the starship, Reyna met the diplomats from the Empire and the two warring planets. The air was heavy with tension. Both sides wanted peace, but neither trusted the other. Reyna began the talks by listening. She asked questions, not just about politics, but about the people, about their fears, hopes, and dreams. The diplomats were surprised. No one had taken this approach before. Slowly, walls began to lower. But the talks were far from over. During a break, a loud explosion shook the ship. Some diplomats panicked. Reyna stayed calm. "It is a message," she said. "Someone does not want peace." Reyna worked quickly with the ship's security to find the cause. She found a small device planted near the ship's engine. Carefully, she removed it before it could do harm. Her calm and quick thinking impressed everyone. The diplomats saw that Reyna was not just brave, but wise. Back at the negotiation table, Reyna used stories from her own life to connect with the leaders. She spoke about humans who had survived great hardships and still chose peace and friendship. Slowly, the leaders began to agree. They signed a temporary peace treaty, a first step toward ending the war. When the mission ended, Reyna returned to the Empire with the news. Princess Aveline greeted her with a proud smile. "You used the human advantage well," the princess said. "Your empathy and courage opened doors that politics could not." Reyna felt proud. For the first time, her humanity was not a weakness, but a true strength. That night, Reyna looked up at the stars from her window. She knew many challenges still awaited, but she was ready. She was no longer the rejected one. She was a force to be reckoned with, and the future was hers to shape. The peaceful moment was short-lived. Soon after the diplomatic success, the Empire received news of a new and terrible threat. Deep in the outer space beyond the Empire's borders, an ancient force was waking. It was cold, mechanical, and ruthless, a machine army from long ago, forgotten by most. Princess Aveling called Reyna urgently. This threat could destroy everything we have built. The Empire, the planets, even our people. Reyna felt a chill run through her. She had faced dangers before, but nothing like this. We must act fast, Aveline said. The Empire's greatest ships are preparing for battle, but we need more than weapons. We need unity. Reyna nodded. What can I do? Aveline looked at her with hope. You have shown strength, courage, and wisdom. I want you to help lead the Empire's defense and bring together all our allies. Reyna felt the weight of the task. This was bigger than any trial or challenge before. This was about survival. She traveled quickly to the Empire's command center, a giant station floating in space. There, leaders from many planets gathered. Reyna saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. We must be strong and united, Reyna told them. Our enemies are not like us. They will not feel pain or mercy. But we have something they don't: heart. Many leaders listened, but some doubted. How can a single human help us against a machine army? One asked. Reyna smiled. Because humans do not give up. We find ways to fight when all hope is lost. She worked day and night, helping plan strategies that combined the Empire's power with the unique skills of different species. Reyna's ideas surprised many. She suggested using unexpected tactics, relying on speed, teamwork, and surprise rather than just brute force. The day of battle came. Huge warships faced the cold machine fleet in the dark space. The battle was fierce and loud, with bright explosions lighting the void. Reyna was in the command center, coordinating the fighters. She stayed calm, sending orders and encouraging the soldiers. During the fight, the machine army used strange weapons that could disable ships instantly. Many were lost, but Reyna's quick thinking helped the pilots avoid traps and strike weak points. At one moment, a small group of human pilots broke through the enemy line. They attacked the machine command ship, causing it to lose control. The machine fleet began to retreat. The Empire's leaders cheered. Reyna smiled quietly. The battle was won, but the war was not over. Princess Aveline sent a message. You have saved the Empire's heart, Reyna. Together, we will rebuild and prepare for whatever comes next. Reyna looked at the stars through the command center's window. She felt proud but knew the future held more challenges. But for now, she had shown the universe what humans could do. They had heart. After the fierce battle with the machine army, the Empire's leaders knew they could not face future threats alone. Princess Aveling called a meeting of all the allied planets and species. Reyna was there, standing tall among the great leaders. The room was filled with tension. Many species still remembered old wars and grudges. Trust was fragile. Reyna stepped forward. We have seen what happens when we are divided. The machine army almost destroyed us. But together, we are stronger. We must learn to work as one. Some leaders nodded. Others looked doubtful. Reyna understood it would take time to heal old wounds. She proposed a plan. We will create a new alliance. Each planet and species will share their unique skills and strengths. We will train together, fight together, and protect each other. Aveline added, this alliance will be our shield and sword, but it will need leaders who understand each other. Reyna volunteered. I will help lead this alliance. I know what it means to be rejected and doubted. I will make sure everyone is heard. The leaders agreed. It was a new beginning. Training began immediately. Reyna worked closely with soldiers from many worlds. She taught them to trust their instincts, to use teamwork and creativity in battle. She showed how humans could adapt quickly to new situations. The alliance faced many challenges. Different languages, cultures, and habits caused misunderstandings. But Reyna's calm words and actions helped solve many problems. One day, during a joint training mission, a sudden attack came from a rogue group of space pirates. They wanted to steal weapons and technology. The Alliance forces were caught off guard. The pirates were fierce and fast. Reyna took command. "Stay calm. Work together," she shouted. Using what they had learned, the Alliance soldiers fought back. Reyna led a small team that used clever tactics to outsmart the pirates. They trapped the pirates between two groups, forcing them to surrender. The victory was celebrated across the Empire. The Alliance was no longer just an idea. It was real. Princess Aveline praised Reyna. "You have done more than survive your trials. You have built a family from many worlds." Reyna smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and pride. That night, under the stars, Reyna thought about her journey. From a rejected human to a leader of many worlds, she had come far. The Alliance was strong, but the galaxy was still full of dangers. Reyna knew their fight was not over. But now, they would face the future united, stronger than ever before. After months of building the Alliance and facing battles together, Reyna and Princess Aveline grew closer. Their bond was no longer just about trials or power. It was about trust and respect. The Empire was changing. People whispered that Reyna was no longer just a human outsider, but a true part of the Empire's future. The princess had seen Reyna's strength and heart, and now she faced a choice, one that would surprise many. One evening, during a quiet moment in the palace gardens, Reyna found Aveline looking at the stars. The princess's silver hair shimmered softly in the moonlight. "Reyna," Aveline said gently, "you asked me to be your husband. You risked everything with that bold question. I have watched you face danger, politics, and doubt with courage." Reyna's heart beat fast. She waited quietly. Aveline took Reyna's hand. "I want you by my side, not just as a partner in trials, but as my equal. Will you marry me?" Reyna's eyes widened. This was the moment she had dreamed of, yet it felt even more real now. "I will," Reyna said, smiling with joy. "I will stand with you, no matter what." News of the engagement spread quickly. Some were surprised, others were happy, and a few still doubted. But the princess's choice was clear. The wedding was planned with great care. The Empire celebrated a new union, not just of two people, but of many worlds coming together. On the day of the ceremony, Reyna wore a simple but beautiful dress, symbolizing her journey. Aveline stood proud and elegant beside her. Leaders from many planets came to witness the moment. The ceremony was full of hope and promises for a better future. As they exchanged vows, Reyna and Aveline felt the weight of their responsibility, but also the strength of their love. Their marriage was more than a title. It was a symbol that even the rejected could rise, that courage and heart could change the galaxy. After the ceremony, Reyna looked out at the crowd. She saw faces from all over the Empire, humans, aliens, soldiers, and leaders, all united. For the first time in her life, Reyna felt truly accepted. The future was bright, but challenges remained. Together, Reyna and Aveline were ready to face them. Their story had just begun. The palace was filled with light and music as Reyna and Princess Aveline began their new life together. Their marriage was more than a ceremony. It was the start of a new era for the Empire and for all the planets that called it home. Reyna stood beside Aveline on the balcony, looking out over the city that sparkled under the stars. She thought about her journey, from a rejected human, alone in the universe, to the princess's partner and leader of many worlds. "Do you ever wonder how far we have come?" Aveline asked softly. Reyna smiled. "Every day. I never imagined this was possible. But I believe in us, in the strength we have together." The Empire was changing. With Reyna and Aveline leading, old walls between species and planets were breaking down. New friendships were growing. People were learning to trust and help one another. Reyna worked hard to make sure everyone had a voice. She visited distant planets, listened to their stories, and helped solve their problems. Her human spirit, full of hope and courage, inspired many. Together, Reyna and Aveline faced new challenges. There were threats from beyond the Empire's borders, political struggles, and the difficult task of keeping peace among many different people. But they faced these trials side by side. Rhaina's courage and Eveline's wisdom made a strong team. They showed that love and respect could unite even the most different worlds. One day, during a celebration of the Alliance's anniversary, Rhaina gave a speech that touched many hearts. "We come from many places and many stories," she said, "but together, we are stronger. We are proof that even those who are rejected can rise. We can build a future full of hope and peace." The crowd cheered, and Rhaina felt a deep joy. Her journey was not just about her own success, but about the legacy they were creating. Years passed, and Rhaina and Eveline's story became legend. Children on distant planets heard tales of the brave human who dared to ask a princess to marry her, and the princess who saw the strength in that bold heart. Their legacy was a galaxy where no one was truly alone, where courage and kindness could change the stars. Rhaina looked up at the night sky, her heart full. She knew the journey would never end, but with Eveline by her side, she was ready for whatever came next. Together, they were not just rulers. They were symbols of hope, a legacy of two worlds united in courage, love, and endless possibility.